So let's look at enforcing your IP rights. Very important. If someone infringes on your IP rights, now here's what you're going to do. Firstly, you have to gather evidences of infringement, and then the second thing is to send cease and desist letter. Of course, you do that through a lawyer. You send a cease or desist letter to the person, and then seek mediation or legal action, depending on the one you would want to use. You can go to the courts, to enforce on your right, on the infringement of your right, and as well, you can file for an injunction, or you can even claim damages, or whichever way, based on what has already happened. You see, based on what has already happened. Then, of course, you work with law enforcement concerning this, on enforcing these rights. Now, common IP mistakes to avoid. Some of these IP mistakes is something you can really avoid before, before it gets out of hand. You see. Now, firstly, using a name without conducting a search. And sometimes entrepreneurs don't really understand that their business will go as far as the top person. Now, if you think, or maybe you're not looking at maybe doing these IP registrations at the beginning stage of your business, then that's where you have difficulty in some ways. You see. But firstly, look at it this way: you have a mark. Let me use Trademark for example, or maybe any one of it anyway, any one of the IPs. Okay. Once you have that creative work, okay, the next thing for you to think about is to perfect it. Remember, it is not about being big or being widely known. Then you would want to register on it. You want to register it. No, it's from that you recognizing this is my property, this is my intellectual property, this is the child of my brain. So the next thing for you to do is to register it. Okay, even if nobody has heard of it, no, it hasn't reached out to anybody, the first things first you should think of is to register it. Once you register it, then of course you can start exploring or start using it, so well, depending on what the work is. And as well, even if for some reason you probably may not exercise that intellectual property, you can still sell it, you can still franchise it later on, but it's something that you have owned. And think about what that could do for you. You see, an intellectual property can give you, big profit, as high as what real estate and some other investment can give. So it's highly important that you think about it this way. Assuming registration isn't necessary. That's also part of what I've talked about. Ignoring renewal deadlines. So try to renew. If your IP has expired, try to renew it. Very important. And then, of course, sharing confidential information without NDAs. Now, this is very tricky because if you have this idea, if you have this creative work, and then maybe you want an investor to invest in you or invest in that work. Of course, the investor being you and you being you, you may not want to sign an NDA, but if that investor and you have related before then of course it can be considered. But NDA, that means NDAs are not something that you can bring on the table, from the beginning. So try to know how you can play around this. And then failing to enforce your rights against infringers. So when people infringe on your intellectual property, then try to take legal actions. Very, very important. Don't just let it slide. All right. So this is where we would call it a day. We'll round up now on our topic for today. There are so many things also to mention on these three, but I wouldn't want this video to extend more than the usual, like more than necessary. So intellectual property, trademark, copyright, patents, you want to register, you want to renew, or even you want to know much more, or maybe make some inquiry, then of course you can really reach out to us on our email and or you can call us on phone. So thank you for joining in today's webinar, and meet again. All right.